I had a lot of trouble connecting with other people, if there's a word for that.
And you were also writing diss tracks and stuff, right?
Diss tracks. Yeah, that's right. We went to the same high school. He was over at my house. I dealt with some like real adult knucklehead gangsters, got myself into trouble. All you really need to do is believe and then to work at it like 25 hours a day. For the first year I didn't show my face because I don't want people to make any connection.
Hi, this is Lauren Engel of Sidewalk Talk. Today I'm here with Kashmir.
Hey guys.
So I've actually been to Kashmir before.
You have?
The houseboats, like on, is it, how do you say it, DallasK? The lake there with the houseboats?
Yeah.
Yeah,
but I've never been.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow,
so
what took you up there?
I joined like an India tour, and that was like one of the places was in Kashmir, and I'm like, that's honestly the most stunning place I've been to.
Wow, that's amazing. And my grandparents would tell me a lot about it and what it looked like. And I was supposed to go with them, but it just never was the right time. And you know, sometimes they said it was dangerous, so we didn't go. But I really wish I would have gone before my grandpa passed away. Yeah.
So your dad moved from India to the Bay Area, or? Yeah,
that's right. My dad moved to Berkeley to go to business school, and that's where he met my mom.
Oh, okay. And what do your parents do?
Well, my dad was in accounting, like he worked for businesses helping them with the numbers, and my mom was a social worker, so she would do termination of parental rights, which meant if there was a household where kids were getting abused, she would go, she would inspect, she would write a report, and then she'd make a case to a judge that she felt they were suited or not suited to be parents. Yeah, and then she did. And then in some cases take the kids away. So she had a lot of enemies at times for it, but she did good work, I think.
Where do you think you got your creative side from?
My creative side's probably from my mom. My mom was the more, you know, tree-hugging, open-minded. she played cello also. My dad was much more of the scholastic, you know, had like a really tough regiment that he wanted in his household. And when my parents split up, I think I got more in touch with my mom at that point, and yeah, I mean, I was creative. I guess I had parts of both of my parents. But.
Was this split difficult for you?
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, I had a best friend at the time, and then when the split happened with my parents, I was really upset, and I kind of cut off communication with my best friend, so I kind of lost my best friend. His name was Lloyd at the time. Interestingly, Lloyd was another kid in the Bay Area who went on to make music, and he became the producer of The Pack, and he made that song Vans, the Vans song, Got My Vans On But They Look Like Sneakers. It was funny, but when we were kids we never worked on music together. That just kind of happened after we stopped talking. That was very random.
How do you describe yourself back then growing up?
I think I had a lot of trouble connecting with other people, if there's a word for that.
How did you like get more and more into like making music when you were younger?
Well, I was really into rap music, and I was really into computers. So when the programs came out that allowed people to make music on a computer, I hopped on it really quickly, and because of, you know, my savvy with computers, I was able to, you know, pick it up fairly quick. But in the beginning, I was just like sampling, which is a traditionally hip-hop thing to do, which is to just take little parts of one song and match it with another song and create something new that way. But I didn't even know what the hell a chord was or anything, or how to put notes together. That came really slowly, and you know, to be honest with you, I really envy kids who have access to YouTube nowadays, because with YouTube you can learn very quickly how to do things that took me, you know, years and years to figure out how to do.
And you were also writing diss tracks and stuff, right?
Diss tracks. Yeah, that's right. I was in a different group. It was called the Cataracs, and the way that I met the guy in the Cataracs is that I wrote a diss track dissing him, and that circulated school. And you know, yeah, that's really funny that you know that. Yeah, that's right.
And you also, turned your home into like a studio and rented out for 15 an hour?
Yeah, for 15 bucks
Already
an
like
hour.
an entrepreneur back then.
Yeah, that's right. You know, I had a few guys who went on to do things. I had the Pac guy, G-Eazy, we went to the same high school, he was over at my house. Who else? This guy, Knack's a really great producer. He produced the last couple of DJ Khaled songs with Justin Bieber and stuff that became big hits. So Knack, yeah, he's over at my house. I mean, I was just, yeah, trying to make a quick buck, you know, 15 bucks an hour, whatever, come over to my mom's house. I dealt with a lot of fucking knuckleheads, and not just like little kid knuckleheads. Like I dealt with some like real adult knucklehead gangsters. Got myself into trouble where, like, you know, I do some work for a guy, and he expected, you know, past the $15 an hour that he was paying for, that I would, you know, do all the mixing afterwards after he left and stuff. And you know, there were a couple cases where a lot of work started to get expected of me. You know, a lot of pressure was put on me, and then I wouldn't do it, and then I had just big, you know, mean-looking guys showing up at my mom's house and my front door. So I'm lucky to have gotten out of that.
Oh my god, of course.
Okay, we're approaching Skid Row now. You got the tents. Depends on how firm your grip is on your camera.
I'll just turn back.
Got a good grip.
Did you like school back then?
Yeah, I like school. No. I mean, I'd go home as much as I could to work on music. You know, I was skipping a lot of school. I wasn't even sure if I wanted to go to college. My dad was really, I mean, he really wanted me to go to college. That's a very traditional Indian thing, you know, to want to follow a more conventional path. And when I told them that I didn't want to, they sent me to India, and they were going to teach me in India. My grandpa was going to teach me time management, and basically what that meant was to manage music as a hobby and to manage school as my main focus. So I went to India, and I thought I was only going to be there for a couple of weeks, but then I ended up being there for basically the whole summer. And, you know, at first I hated it because all I would do was argue with my grandpa about how much I believed in music and how much he didn't. But we ended up seeing all of India. We went through all of these temples. I traveled all over, and it was amazing. It opened my eyes up to my heritage and to start to, I think, and sort of implement that into my identity. And you know, when my dad came from India, there were a few things he brought with him, like we would watch Bollywood movies on the local TV network and stuff, but he didn't teach me Hindi, and he didn't really have any intention of carrying much of India over with him. So that was sort of more of a personal journey that happened when I spent that summer in India. And you know, it started a relationship with my grandpa, which at first wasn't really a positive relationship, but luckily in the last 3 or 4 years that changed, and music brought me to India and brought us closer together, and then allowed me to bring him up on stage when I performed.
Yeah, that's so cool. But how did you realize that you wanted to do music as a career? Like, were you thinking that you were going to be a producer, or what was it that you could have done at that point? You
know, I probably would have told you I'd be a rapper when I was younger, or just involved more in rap music. I just knew that as much, like, the capacity that I had to do music so relentlessly, I was just so sure that it would work out for me in some way. I was really, really confident. Like, you know, people would question me, my family would question me, and I just had no doubt. I really believed in myself, not knowing exactly how it would all pan out, but just that it would. And that blind confidence led me to ditch college and give my group at the time, the Cataracs, a real shot, and then it led me to come to LA with basically no game plan, you know. But all you really need to do is believe, and then to work at it like 25 hours a day.
Did you know anyone back then, like a mentor or someone they could talk to for advice?
Sort of. I mean, with the Cataracts, while I was still in college, this guy reached out to us from New York, and he was somebody who had kind of done a little bit of stuff with music, and kind of, you know, gave us some attention, and he was older, and so we started taking his advice about what kind of songs we should be making, or which songs he liked, and you know, so he was like our first kind of example of a manager, I guess you could say.
And then for the Cataracts, how did you get yourself out there initially?
Well, we were just really circulating songs locally, trying to, you know, pass out CDs, and then with MySpace. I mean, the internet really changed everything because you could just point people to a link, and you could harass people online and tell them to listen to a song. And then one of our songs started getting played on the radio, and that helped a lot locally in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
That helped a lot, yeah.
When was like the transition where you realized you wanted to be a solo artist?
Well, the other guy in the Cataracs made that decision pretty easy because he left the group.
Yeah.
So when he left the group, I tried to keep it going a little bit just on my own, and that just obviously wasn't going to work. So I started something new. I started Kashmir, and that was the result of me taking kind of a long, hard look at who I was and what I wanted my legacy to be, because a lot of the Cataracs music, although it didn't start that way, have become about partying and popping bottles in the ice. That was the big one, like G6. And that became sort of a defining song, and I knew if I started something new, and this is probably how David felt and why he left the group, you know, if I started something new, I'd want it to have a better reflection of who I was and what I wanted my legacy to be. So that became more of an inward journey to think about that, and that's how I came up with Kashmir, which obviously is a reference to my heritage.
And what was the decision that you didn't want to show who you are for, like, was it a year or?
Yeah, well, I'd seen the way a few guys made or attempted to make a transition from dance music into, or from pop music into dance music, like will.i.am. I thought he just had no class the way that he did it. I really didn't like how it just felt like he was hopping on the bandwagon, and I wanted to make sure that if I did it, it would be in a very genuine way, you know, show that I really cared about the music and took time to understand what it means to produce dance music. So for the first year I didn't show my face because I don't want people to make any connection. But really the way that I got my feet wet into dance music was still, oh, look at that little rat.
Oh my god, it's big ass rat.
Yeah, I just watched Ratatouille. It's a good movie.
I love it.
Made me feel a little bit, you know.
Better for those.
Yeah, I have kind of a better disposition towards bad stuff. But yeah, what I was saying is, the way I got my feet wet at first was to ghost produce. So while I was still in the Cataracts, I had a friend of mine who was this local DJ in LA, but this guy didn't know how to produce for shit, so he said, hey Niles, can you help me make some tracks? I said, yeah, sure. So we worked out an arrangement where, you know, I'd be like sort of a manager, I guess, but really I'd just help him make the music side, and I was what you call a ghost producer. And so I made some tracks for him, and then one of them got really, really big, and I was still working for him, but it gave me the confidence to do something on my own. I said, wow, you know, maybe I really know what I'm doing, because one of the tracks I did for him became, you know, big, you know, really kind of accepted, renowned song in the dance world.
Yeah.
So that was a confidence boost, and eventually things fizzled out with me and him, but I'm still really thankful, you know, that I had that relationship with him.
At one point, did you think EDM was corny? I think I read in an old interview.
Yeah, I did think it was corny, that's right. You know, when Eminem said nobody listens to techno, I thought he was right on the money. I said, who the fuck is this Moby guy? Because, you know, he was in a feud with Moby at the time. I said, who the hell is Moby? Why does anyone care? Eminem's the biggest thing in the world. And then, years later, you know, you grow up also. I mean, when you're young, I think you're into like really ego-driven music and just ego-driven lifestyle, and rap music is all of that. But as you grow up, I think you can start to appreciate, you know, things that are not about that, and that's I couldn't. I think when I was younger, it was just corny. The dance music was corny, but it's great. I mean, for someone who produces, it's the way that you can really be known and get your name out there, because up until recently no one knew who the hell producers were. The guy who produced the song, who the fuck cares?
Yeah.
You know, and then dance music comes around, and now these guys who really are the ones responsible in a lot of cases for making great songs, now they're getting appreciated, so it's a beautiful thing.
Who were the early inspirations when you first started out Kashmir?
Early inspirations, I would say, guys I really looked up to were Hardwell, Tiësto, Showtek. I love Porter Robinson and Avicii. I mean, I think of Avicii maybe almost more than anybody, because he really showed me that you can make dance music with a soul that is you know, really musical. And Avicii's songs are really songs, you know, more than they are like dance tracks that you hear at a club. They're you know, dance music is the format, but he's just a beautiful songwriter. So I think that appealed. He just, to me, the ceiling was just higher with his music. And I'll never forget when I did the song Jamu, Avicii, he played it in a show, and he even like said a little something about it, like he did like a little voice blurb, like how much he liked the song, and that really touched me, you know, because I was kind of just getting started, and I was really proud of that Jamu song also. So
And how did you realize to do the face reveal with Tiësto back then?
Well, I knew I didn't want to just be this hidden guy forever, and doing it with Tiësto seemed like the biggest way you could do it.
And did a lot of your connections from the Cataracs carry over to Kashmir? And it was like easier to gain momentum with it?
Well, I think my connections with songwriters, yeah, that really did help. And yeah, I had some name recognition and relationships with the Cataracs, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Also, just my ability to kind of coordinate a song being made, I think that's an aspect of being a producer that's a little bit more old school. And some of the new school producers who it's just them in a solitary state with the computer, don't have the best grasp on how to get in touch with singers, bring them in, get a good song written, maybe get someone else to vocal it if the songwriter isn't the best choice for the vocalist. You know, those are things that come in from pop music that I learned how to do.
Yeah.
Not the best at it, but I learned how to do, you know.
How did you gain such a big fan base in Asia and South America? Like, what do you think about your...
I don't know. I mean, the fan base in India makes sense to me, you know. But how that permeated to all of these other countries in Asia, it's kind of still a mystery to me. But it's really amazing. I mean, in South America, I noticed also I got a little bit of that. I think in South America they also just appreciate like more aggressive party music. Like it's just some of the best crowds and easiest crowds to play to are down there in South America. And I speak Spanish pretty well, so when I'm on stage in South America I can speak on the microphone the whole show in Spanish.
I love that, yeah.
Yeah, so that helps.
What are the inspirations behind Good Vibes Soldier?
Inspiration behind Good Vibes Soldier, you know, that was originally an idea I sent to Vinny Vici. I thought would be a good Psytrance idea, but then they sent me back this pop version of it that you hear now that had this didgeridoo, which I thought was such a fucking cool and unusual instrument. You know, it's this crazy instrument that comes from Australia, and they were able to make it work in track and make it sound really good. So I was like, what the hell, let's go with this version of it. They also came up with the reggae singer, rapper guy on there. So I was like, you know what? It's really weird and left field for me, but I like the song, and you know, if I like songs, I'm just feel better putting them out.
Yeah.
What am I gonna do?
How did you decide you wanted to start your label?
I started Dharma because so many people will be sending me track ideas with the intention of collaborating with me, and I just couldn't collaborate on all of them. In a lot of cases I'd want to. I'd like the song, I'd be like, yo, this is really dope. Yes, I want to work on it with you, so as soon as I get the chance, then I'll do it. But what that led to is a lot of people waiting around for me, and I wasn't really able to finish as many songs as I promised. So with Dharma, I was able to create a platform where even though I'm not collaborating, I could still put the music out. And I felt like it was time. I mean, I think I established like maybe a distinct sound sort of, you know, with my music, and I think I heard a lot of other artists starting to do stuff similar to that, and it felt like it could be a good label. Yeah.
How would you say your music has changed since the early songs you made?
Well, at first I just wanted to make bangers like anybody else, you know, like just songs that could be accepted as like big tracks in the dance world that people would play out. But then that started to evolve into having my own sound, which at first was like, felt like taking a little bit of a leap of faith, like to put out songs like Jammu and Kashmir at first, because I wasn't sure how interested people would be in that Indian sound, but as it turned out, it became this defining thing for me. So I think, you know, I always say for people who say, how do I find my sound? It's like, who knows? You know, you just have to mess around, and then everything that inspires you will just come out, and all the tiny decisions you make, that will create your sound, I think, you know. When you're a producer, when you make a song, by the time it's done, you've made thousands of decisions. And your personality, if you're interesting, I mean, if you're just a dial tone and you're a boring person, then it will be difficult to disguise that, you know. But I think that if you have a story to tell of some sort, and you're willing to be confident and pursue your gut, then I think you'll find your sound, you'll make good music.
How would you say you've grown as a person compared to when you were younger?
Well, I think at first, younger in my life, having difficulty connecting to other people, became sort of calloused over with having like a really thick wall and the sort of, you know, ego, and having like this tough guy mentality. And then after just finding appreciation, you know, being appreciated for my music, and finding like good, healthy people around me who I care about, who cared about me, I was able to let some of that ego go and be in a place where, you know, I still take music very seriously, but I think I have my priorities straight in that I'll do music, and but I, you know, put my friends first and my relationships and the people I care about at the top of the list. You know, because you can do both.
Other than that, what would you say have been your biggest challenges in life?
I think the biggest challenge, I mean, if I just say in life, I mean, you really get way off into life, but I think my biggest challenge with music was just getting the foot in the door, like with anyone, and having anybody give a shit about you, and even including your name on any list or any conversation. You know, when they talk about music and people who are doing things, it's really hard to just get on that list. And then if you taste success, the new, really even maybe harder thing is how to keep it, and to be successful with something, but to not find yourself in a place where you're just imitating yourself and trying to recreate success you've had before. I think that's very difficult, and it can be hard to avoid. It's really hard to distinguish in your mind, you know, what is driving you, if it's creativity and really just like pure gut and inspiration, or is it the kind of memory of success, and does this sound like something that is successful, and therefore I want to do that. And oftentimes you don't find a lot of success by just trying to recreate other successful things.
Yeah. What does love mean to you?
Love? What does love mean to me? I think love is just that thing that doesn't go away when you stop thinking about it. You know?
Oh, I love that. Last question. What do you want to be remembered for?
Remember for, I think, helping people in tough spots and helping them through it. And then I don't know, I mean, all I ever cared about really was music. So to be important in some way to this society, which is so important to me, that's probably my own personal form of happiness, to be cared about by the people that I care so much about, and to matter to the thing that I care so much about, you know?
Yeah, I love that. This was awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Sure.